Hello, everybody. Jimmy Smith here from the Wine with Jimmy channel. Thank you for clicking by. This is a channel which is designed to help those of you getting more into the world of wine, perhaps just on more of a personal level, you're enjoying it more, or maybe you are studying the world of wine. And this is what this video is aimed at. It's designed to help those of you who want to learn more about the tasting method, and it goes along the lines of WSET, that's the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, and it's their Level 3 certificate. Here we're looking at the SAT, the Systematic Approach to Tasting Wine, and we're on Series 2 here, where we are looking at the appearance of wine. And this is part 1 of 3, looking at the clarity and intensity, what you need to do to decipher the clarity and the intensity. Now, this video is a free video, but all other videos, part 2 and 3 in this series, are only available on my e-learning portal. That's over at winewithjimmy.com. If you have any questions, any comments, please do comment on the video below. That would be very much welcome. But let's get stuck into talking about the appearance. So the appearance is the first thing you do to assess the wine. It's the look of wine. And there are a number of things that we can talk about on this section. So that goes through what you see on the box on the screen there, the clarity, the intensity, the specific color, and then any other observations. Here in this video, we'll look at the clarity and intensity. So first of all, it is the clarity. So an immediate disclaimer here is that for your level 3 examination, the clarity is not too important. You are not going to get a hazy wine in your examination. And also, there are no marks for deciphering the clarity. If you want to write it down, then so be it. But it's not 100% necessary. Let's talk about, though, what the clarity means. So there is only a 2-point scale for clarity, clear and hazy. The vast majority of wines can be described as clear. Haziness that you see on the glass on the left-hand side is caused by particles suspended in the wine. If a wine has an unusually high amount of suspended particles, then we can describe it as hazy. It may indicate a fault, but the precise nature of the fault can normally only be determined by assessing the wine on the nose and on the palate. And please bear in mind as well, there are wines which are actually hazy on purpose. Potentially they are non-filtered, non-fined and more natural wine styles. I know that's quite a loose term, but you'll know what I mean. For the purposes of the level 3 certificate though, it is not important. Let's talk about what is and where you will find 1 mark in the examination, and that is around the intensity. So the intensity is how much color the wine has. And we're going to talk about the methodology of actually deciphering the intensity. Now, the level of intensity can be assessed by holding the glass at a 45-degree angle away from you, somewhat like you see in that picture. And then you look through the wine from above to see how far the colour extends from the core, which is the centre of wine or the deepest part of the bowl. So you'll see this middle part of this bowl here of this glass, the most lowest point really. And then towards the rim, which is the shallowest depth of the wine, which is towards the lip of the glass. Of course, here the furthest away from you. Now, for red wines, it can also be assessed by looking straight down on it. So if you're at a table and you put your wine straight on the table, no hands, you just look down on it, you can also assess a red wine that way. So if you can't see the stem, which of course is below the bowl where the wine is sitting, the wine will be deep. If you can very much make out the stem, it's likely to be pale. And that is our scale here for intensity: pale, medium, or deep. A 3-point scale: pale, medium, or deep. First of all, let's talk about white wine intensity. So, all white wines appear colourless or waterless right at the rim where the glass is held at a 45-degree angle. So, this picture you'll see here, where pretty much all the arrows are pointing, the closest part of the wine to the rim, that's what we call the rim. So, it's the bit that's furthest away from you as you're tipping it 45-degree angle away from you. Now, a white wine that has a very broad, watery rim should be described as pale, like you see here on the picture on the left-hand side. So it's a thicker, broader, watery rim. Whereas if the pigment almost reaches the rim, so the colour you see from the core gets close to the rim, that will be considered deep. And that's what you see on the right-hand side. So you'll actually see there's less of a watery rim there. So I don't know, on these pictures you're looking at probably about 1 centimetre of watery rim on the pale style, a little bit less than that for medium, and then much less than that for deep style. Hopefully that gives you an indication of the intensity. And then we've got red wines. So for the red wines, tilt the glass and look at the rim like normal, so at 45-degree angle away from you. If the wine is lightly pigmented from the rim to the core, we would call it pale, like the glass you see on the left-hand side. When you are tilting it away from you, what I like to do is I like to have a piece of paper where I've just quickly written something behind it, maybe your name or whatever it may be, maybe your thoughts of the day, whatever. And then as you tilt it away, hover it above those words. If you can clearly read the word easily, it's pale. If you can make out that there's a word there, but it's difficult to see exactly what it is, it's medium. And if it's very difficult to see the word, it's going to be deep. That's one methodology that I like to do. Now, we've also talked about actually putting the glass down on the table and looking directly down at it from above, like a satellite image. Now that is because we can do the stem approach. Instead of looking at a word beyond the glass, you look at the stem, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so if you are looking at a wine and on the right hand side here, you cannot see the stem or anything beyond the glass like words, it's deep, and something in between. Like I said with the words, if you can make out a word or you can make out that there's a bit of a stem there, then it's going to be medium in its intensity. Okay, so that's the intensity complete, which is just 1 mark on your tasting sheet. Join me for just 1 more mark when we look at colour in part 2. If you wish to look at colour, part 2 and then part 3, remember this is only going to be available to those of you who subscribe to my e-learning portal. That's over at www.winewithjimmy.com. Any comments and questions, please get in touch by commenting on this video below. And if you find yourself in the United Kingdom, come and say hello and come for a class, a glass or a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now.